Hey everyone, 2BrainCell here. I was a Challenger player back in set 4.5 and more recently in set 7, and I'm back with a quick video on playing AD Flex in set 7.5. With Uncharted Realms coming soon to live, many of the top players from around the world have been grinding PvE trying to figure out the meta. And one of my favorite ways to play right now is AD Flex, which involves slamming AD items early and playing between the multiple comps that can utilize those items. In this video, we're going to be talking about early slammable items, early game boards that can help you stay healthy until level 7 to 8, and all the potential endgame boards that you can play. One quick note is that I'm mostly going to be talking about the tier 4 carries, so either the 4 cost or 7 cost carries. Obviously, there are 3 cost carries that can utilize AD items really well, but they play at a little bit different of a tempo, so we're not going to talk about them in this video. Let's start by talking about early slammable items. One of the main tenets of playing strongest board is to utilize your item components early to get the most value out of your available resources. Obviously, you don't want to be making any and every item, but let's take a look at some items that you can feel comfortable making while still maintaining options for your late game. Here are the items that I like to slam early. The AD meta is mostly dominated by tanky melee units who, while they dish out incredible amounts of damage, are also often in the line of fire. These carries often include Xiaoyu, Siphon, and Graves, who, while technically isn't a melee unit, often dashes into the middle of fights. Because of this, tanky, sustain-heavy AD items are favored, and BT, Titans, and Guardian Angel all fit that bill. Hodge is another item I like to slam because it serves as a budget version of BT while also utilizing a tier, which is often an awkward component to use in AD boards. Sunfire is the premier tank item in the early game because of both its strength in the early game as well as the healing reduction it provides. As you can see, a lot of these items use similar components, which kind of steers the direction of your first carousel. When playing AD Flex, I love to start with either Sword or Chain because it maximizes my chances of being able to slam these items. Let's get into the early game. A quick note, I'll be using 1 and 2 cost units in most of these early game boards to keep it as realistic as possible. There'll definitely be situations where you roll an early dragon or another high cost unit that can use AD items well, and you should definitely take advantage of it. However, for consistency's sake, I'm just going to stick to the 1 and 2 cost units for now because you can reasonably expect to hit these units in most of your games. Two of the best early game units for holding AD items right now are Sett and Wukong, both of whom use similar early game setups. For each of these early game boards, I'm going to be showing you a level 4, 5, 6, and 7 board. Obviously, there are a lot of situations where you don't want to be sticking with your early game board at level 7, and you want to be rolling down. But in case you played the early game well and you were really healthy, and you want to go fast 8, I'll still show you an option for level 7. Let's start with Sett. Sett has already been one of the dominant AD item holders throughout the entirety of set 7, and with Ragewing and Dragonmancer reducing their trait activations from 3 units to 2, Sett looks like he's here to stay. And you can see right off the bat in your level 4 board that you take advantage of those 2 traits already, as well as slotting in a Sejuani. And this is a very common thing for players to do. If you can't get another trait with a single unit, then putting Sejuani in is always a good option because there's so much tankiness that she provides as a unit, as well as the guild bonus making the entire team tankier. Level 5 though, you can take advantage of the Jade trait as well as slot in a Jax, who's one of the best early game units right now because a lot of early game fights and damage are dictated around auto attacks, and Jax mitigates all autos. Moving on to level 6, you put in a Bruiser, just making the team a lot more beefy, and then finally moving into level 7, since there aren't many traits that you can add in, you just slot Sejuani back in, just making the team overall more tanky. Moving into Wukong boards, we see they have very similar setups. Take advantage of the Jade trait early, slotting in Jax, and at level 4 you can already put in Bruisers with this board. And this just makes the team really tanky and annoying to deal with in the early game. At level 5, you add in a Yone to boost Wukong's damage. However, there are situations where you would itemize Yone over Wukong. And I would say those situations include if you hit a Yone too early, or if the Mirage benefits Yone's damage significantly, like Duelist or Spell Sword. And keeping in line with that, your level 6 should be to put in a Mirage activator, in this case Leona, and to maximize your traits at level 7, you put in a Rakan, who both gives Guardian and is just a very disruptive unit right now because of his disarm ability. Another option, and an arguably better one, is to put in Nunu and Sejuani, which obviously requires rolling a Nunu early, but this is a lot tankier of a board and really benefits the entire team's tankiness. Another line that you can take is if you roll an early Olaf. And that in that case, you can put in 4 Bruisers as well as Warrior early, and this is a really beefy team, as well as allowing you to itemize Olaf in certain situations. And at level 7, you just put in your typical Sejuani to add even more tankiness to the team. So you've reached the late game. You're able to get to level 8 while staying pretty healthy and saving up a good amount of gold to roll. What are your options for endgame compositions? I'm going to go over a few of the most popular boards being played right now, but keep in mind that this set, at least in PvE thus far, has promoted a lot more flexibility in its endgame boards compared to last set, and you can definitely be creative with your endgame compositions. I'll mention the general structures of each board, highlight some of the interchangeable units, and what might be some good replacement options for them. Let's start with Jade boards. The Jade board this set is an identity very similar to the one from previous sets. It's centered around Shioyu holding 80 items. It's very good against AP comps because you can slot in a lot of Mystics. And it basically runs a bunch of support units that help Shioyu run over the enemy team. This set, because they've lowered the activation trait for Jade from 6 units to 5 units, you can actually run 4 Mystics as well as splash in Jace. Jace is one of the best units in the game right now because he provides AoE CC, he can hold tank and AP items really well, he's deceptively tanky, and his guild bonus gives a solid damage boost to everybody. One variation of this board though is if you drop Jace and Seraphine, get a little bit less tanky with only 3 Mystics, but you add in a Shyvana. Shyvana is really strong because she provides even more AoE CC, is a really solid second damage threat. You get the 4 Rage Wing trait, and you basically up the cap, the damage cap of this composition. Moving on to Whisper's boards, Siphon is still the main carry in this composition, holding your 80 items and doing a lot of damage, especially with his Bite After Charge. However, this comp is a lot more dynamic compared to last set because of the addition of Pantheon and Zyra, who do a lot of damage in their own right compared to Thresh and Elise from last set. This is especially true with Zyra, and the Zyra Siphon combo is deadly because it forces enemies to make very difficult positioning choices. Do you line up your entire backline and get hit with Zyra ult, or do you position your backline not in a line and give Siphon a lot more targets? With the addition of Jace and Yasuo as well, there's a lot of AoE CC, and this comp is just very disruptive, tanky, and difficult to deal with. This board is really flexible though, and I haven't even played through a lot of the variations, but I'm going to show you a few here. This one is a Mystics variation. Mystics is a lot easier to splash in this set compared to last set, and this is mostly against AP heavier lobbies. If you find that your Siphon is kind of dying really quickly and can't really reach the backline, this might be a good option to go. Another variation that will remind you of the Trainer Siphon boards from last set is this one, fittingly with Namzi. This version is when Namzi is an Evoker, and it's very disruptive, and Namzi is a really good secondary carry, especially if you have a lot of AP items to spare. Finally, if it's Mage Namzi, you can run a similar composition with Mages instead of Evokers, and slot Yasuo back in to add Warrior and just the AoE CC. Finally, the last few boards we're looking at all lead into each other very well, and let's start here. This is a Graves carry board, and in my opinion, Graves is the definition of a 1v9 carry this set, and this board shows it. Nobody else on this team really does much damage besides Graves, but that's okay because Graves with enough AD and sustain can completely run over the enemy team. So giving him Guardian, 3 Mystics, as well as a damage boost and AoE CC of Jace does exactly that. In that sense, you can also run this version of Graves, which instead of using multiple traits to buff up Graves, uses Guild to give Graves a lot of stats. This also allows you to run Zippy, who is the Guild Dragon and is really deceptively tanky, holds Sunfire really well, and is super disruptive because it always dashes into the backline, CCing the enemy carry. Now, all of the boards that we've been looking at so far kind of assume that we hit our best in slot items of BT, Edge of Night, and Titan's Resolve. However, if you are dropped a lot of bows and you're forced to make more attack speed items, then you can run these boards. This board is a Xayah carry board, and Xayah is kind of back as the premier AD attack speed carry in the set, and this is one of the versions that is very similar to the Graves versions and just uses Xayah as a backline carry instead. Alternatively, you can drop down one of the guilds and put in Shyvana. And this board, as with all boards where you slot Shyvana in, does have a higher damage cap because Shyvana is such a good damage dealer and such a good secondary carry. Finally, you can also run the 6 Ragewing version, which obviously ups Xayah's damage, but it loses a little bit of tankiness for the board. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I know it's been a while since I've made TFT content or really been in the TFT scene in general, but I'm back and I'm hopefully going to be making a lot more educational content. So thank you again and see you soon.